Yeah, there's a lot to be pleased about for the season. Obviously, it was an exciting playoff run, getting to Game 7 of the conference final. It's disappointing for all of us, because you're that close, and every now and then you allow yourself to dream a little bit about what if, but our team played hard. I think I look back on the series against the Penguins, and they were just a little better than us. You look at the shot totals throughout the course of the series, and they outshot us, and in virtually every game, we played hard to what it's going to take to get to the next level. I think myself as the manager have to look at the team collectively and in what areas we need to improve at. And you can look at all the whether it's your goals against, your goals for, your power play, your penalty killing, those types of things, and say we need to improve in this area or that area. That will help us. Part of it is just going to be patient, allowing our younger players just to continue to improve with the experience they're getting. And then you look at different ways of trying to tweak your lineup. Obviously, with a salary cap in the league, we have to deal with that. Affects some of the decisions we make, and affects not only our team, every team's ability, depending on where they are in relation to the cap, their ability to improve their team. So, again, we'll take some time. I'll sit down with John Cooper and talk about our team and what we think we need. What we think we need to do to improve to get us over the hump, but. It's tough to get over that final hump. I'm sure you're aware that to say we need this or that. This move is going to automatically get us to the Stanley Cup. That's difficult. We'll try to remain as competitive as we can every year and try to hang around these playoffs. And last year we won Game 7. This year we didn't.
In regards to the salary cap, you had said last year signing Steven Stamkos is priority one. Is that priority one?
It's one of many priorities for us now. We got a lot of players that numbers are up. I've said all along we'd love to sign Stammer. It's our hope to retain him, and that hasn't changed.
Steve, the whole Jonathan Drouin thing was well chronicled throughout the year. How nice was it to see how that whole situation turned out?
Well, Jonathan played extremely well through the playoffs from him coming back after the trade deadline. He was an important player on our team and a big reason why we got to Game 7, and his work ethic, his attitude, and certainly his play were all very, very encouraging for us.
Is there any reason to believe he would not be back next year?
No, not at this stage, no.
Physicality. It kind of seemed like they set up shop in the crease. Do you guys feel like you need to get more physical on the back line this offseason?
I'm not sure I agree with you. I look at their power play. Patrick Hornquist is one of the best at getting in front of the goaltender. And the way the rules are now, it's tough to move guys in front of the net. So I don't know that I agree with you there.
Steve, how long do you spend thinking about just what happened over the last few months here, and how soon do you start looking ahead to the future?
Well, very quickly. The next couple of days, players will have some exit meetings, their physicals, have a chance to kind of talk to them about, send them on their way for the summer about some messages that I need to get through across to them. And then have a chance to sit down with Coop and kind of digest everything and make sure we're on the same page. And very quickly start to get to work on next season. We've got a busy month here. We're getting into June. A lot going on in preparation for the draft. We've got several players whose contracts are up, restricted and unrestricted free agents. So we got a lot of work to do. And so our work will probably, get through the weekend, get everybody set up for the off season, and then get to work on moving forward.
Talk about messages that you want to relay to the players. Anything specific that you want to relay to them, or anything that you'd be willing to talk about here?
Well, some players I don't really need to say anything to, but collectively to the group is, we've gotten to the Stanley Cup Finals, to Game 7 of the semifinals. We're trying to figure out how we can, win a Stanley Cup, how we can, take another step in order to do that. I think it's important that our players know, our younger players, nobody takes anything for granted. Their role on the team, their position, that they make sure they do everything they can next summer to come in and fight for their ice time, fight for their spot on the team, and push to get better so we can improve as a team. We can hopefully get back and be more successful when we get in the situation again.
Steve, I know you said that you got to talk to Coop about this playoffs first, but as it stands right now, what do you think this team needs to do to get over the hump? What has to change? Where do you have to get better?
Maybe we can talk about that later on.
Okay,
Sit here.
How about a date? How about next Thursday?
Again, off the top of my head, like, I'll have areas. You look at our power play. You just look at statistically, like you look. I think we need. We talk about our team depth. I think in the playoffs, we need more scoring from top to bottom in our forward group. We need. You look at Brian Rust with 2 goals last night for them. Pittsburgh had balanced scoring from all 4 lines. I think in last year's playoffs and this year's playoffs, we need a little bit more. We need more guys chipping in a goal here and there. That can take the heat off of the guys that your big scorers or whatever. You look in this series, the difference I think really was Pittsburgh and us, 1 through 4 lines, were able to generate a little bit more offense. 2 years in a row, we've kind of stalled a little bit, and so believe it or not, it'll generate more offense up front. Our power play needs to be to improve, and then you can get better in every area. We look at the Pittsburgh series, and probably throughout the playoffs, we gave up a lot of shots. I don't necessarily. That's something I need to sit down with Coop and figure out why are we giving up shots? Is it something we're doing? Do we need to improve our play defensively? What do we need to do? But again, I think just what we run into here in the Chicago series last year and in this series is we need production from 1 through 4 lines.
Is that in the pipeline right now, or do you think you have to go out and get it somewhere?
At this stage, it's more likely comes from within. Honestly, it's with the salary cap, to think where we are right now that we're going to be incredibly active on July 1 is difficult because we want to retain the guys we have. We like the players we have, and we've got some young players that are going to push. Whether they make the team or not is yet to be determined. But again, we want to re-sign. We're in a position. A lot of our own free agents are up, and we want to sign those players. And in doing that, it's going to be difficult to bring in any significant free agent.
What did Jonathan Drouin show you during these playoffs that maybe you didn't see before from him?
Well, obviously he's incredibly skilled. He played hard. He competed hard. I just go back to the Islander game where he got hit and got up and got to the bench, went to the locker room, came back and played. There are not a lot of guys that would do that, and I think you take that showed me more than anything, the skill and all that. He makes us a better team. It's as simple as that. He makes us a better team. He can do things. He's a talented young player that's only going to get better.
From your perspective, where does that situation stand right now? Have there been some negotiations or talks, at least away from the rink, where that's been all smoothed over, or is it still an issue?
We've been focused on the Stanley Cup playoffs. Here's what I say. My answer has been all along, I will always try and act in what's best for the team. You asked me today what he showed me there. Like, I think the best thing for this team right now is Jonathan Drouin being on it.
Steve, every summer has its own variance of importance, but just in the way this one sets up with a number of guys, and key guys that need new contracts and everything else circling the next couple of years, how key is this summer in terms of what your team's going to look like moving forward?
Well, it's certainly going to, not only this summer, the next 2 summers really will kind of define, I think, our team for the next 7 or 8 years, because depending on the term of these deals, but it's going to affect what we do, which players we sign, and the term that we sign them for is going to, each contract is going to affect the next one. So it's really going to kind of define the core of our team for the next few years. And we have an idea of what we want to do, and we're going to do our best to get everyone to buy into what we're trying to do and keep it together. I like the group that we have. Obviously we need to get better to win a Stanley Cup, and that's our goal. Got a lot of work to do, I guess, Eric.
It's a luxury because you basically brought back the same team from one year to the next. Probably don't have that luxury heading into the next season. Will there be a little bit of a different look when you get to training camp? Bucs anticipate that?
Potentially. To what extent, I don't know honestly right now. But I look at, not only the free agents, the contracts, the salary cap is an issue for us. And I don't know for certain, but I've got to keep expansion on the horizon as well. So those two reasons potentially might force us to have a little bit of a different look. But again, the nucleus of this team won't change dramatically.
How much does the salary cap really hamstring the team that you put together?
Well, I mean, you can look at the numbers, and every team. I shouldn't say every team right now, but the majority of teams are dealing with the salary cap, depending on where they're at in their process of building their teams. But the majority of us are really concerned about the cap. There's some uncertainty. It's grown pretty consistently for a few years. It kind of slowed down last year, and there's some uncertainty going into the next couple of years on what it's going to be. For us, it happens at a time when a lot of our younger players have really, come onto the scene in the last 2 years very strongly, and now we've got to figure out a way to keep as many of them as we can, and they're all going to get significant raises. So we're going to have to make, and I've said all along, and it's coming to fruition now, is you're going to have to make decisions based on the cap and not necessarily what's best for you competitively, but we're all in a position we got to decide between A, B, or C, and make it all fit, and put the best team we can with the best team on the ice that we can with the amount of cap, with a salary cap in mind, I guess.
When was the last time you maybe spoke with Stamped's representation? And if so, did they let it be known that their intention was to take him free agency?
We talked just prior to a couple of weeks before the trade deadline, and we certainly never discussed him going to free agency.
You got some guys that have been banged up, obviously, injuries, or anybody that requires any offseason kind of procedures or that might impact?
Joe, I'll probably have an answer for that, although I probably won't tell you anyways. But next week, the guys will get their physicals over the next day or two, and majority of players are dealing with something that they've managed throughout the season. The next couple of days are to determine what, if anything, needs to be done surgically or whatnot. So potentially, off the top of my head, there might be one or two guys that might have an issue that may need attention, I guess.
We don't see that impacting camp, though. We don't see those impacting.
Again, too early for me to say, really what. Again, I'll have better answers next week, and hopefully my answers to you is, hey, we're good to go. Guys have minor things that they'll deal with, but I'll know that better next week.
The way that Bassi played in the series, does it kind of allow you to potentially make a move at goaltender?
Well, I guess for me, and again, I don't know, but expansion and what we read and what you're going to be players you're going to be able to protect, at some point we're going to, and even the salary cap, at some point we're going to have to make a decision, not only on the goaltending but other positions as well. I don't necessarily have to do anything with our goaltending at this point. I think we're in a fantastic position. We have two outstanding goaltenders based on what we've seen from Andre throughout last year and this year, and in particular here coming in the Pittsburgh series. I think we've got a brilliant young goaltender and a proven, I don't even want to call Bish a veteran because he's still relatively young in years played and games played, but we've got two outstanding goaltenders. I know that, and at some point, I don't know when that is, we may, for expansion or for cap reasons, have to make a decision.
Do you have a message for fans tonight? What's your message? What would you want to say to the fans?
Well, I sit up in the press box every night and I watch the games. I drive to the rink prior to the game. You see what's going on outside the building, the spirit around the city. We really appreciate it. I mean, it's a fun place to come and watch a game. Steve Griggs and Jeff have done a fantastic job in the building, making it a fun place to watch a game. But the enthusiasm of our fan base, our guys really, really appreciate it. I appreciate it. I know Jeff and Steve appreciate it appreciate a lot. It's a fun place to play, and we have an excellent fan base that makes it a fun place to play and a fun building to play in.